Okay, so now we're going to get into the fun stuff, the actual verbs. So we're learning the perfect tense active. As I said before, we will learn the passive in a couple chapters. For now, we just focus on the active. So those, when the subject does the action, right? So he runs, he ran, etc. Right? Our translations are as possible. There are actually 3 ways to translate it. How you translate it is up to you. Has, have, verbed, simply verbed, or did verb. I will say that have, has, and did verb are more often going to be used in questions. Like, did you go on a run? Right? Or did you run? That would be a better way of wording that. Or have you seen? Okay. But you are more than welcome to say that I have seen. Okay. Or I did run. It just depends on what you are more used to and comfortable with colloquially. I give you some examples. So I have howled, or he has howled. You choked, or they did flee. So again, verb can be replacing with any of our words. All right. Then come the endings. The endings actually aren't going to be too terribly crazy. The first person singular is E or I with a macron. Second is isti. Third is it. First plural is imus. Second plural istis. And third is erunt with a macron over that E. That macron's really hard to see, but there is a macron on that E. All right. And as we talked about earlier, what you're going to do is you're going to add these endings to the third principal part. Because the endings are the same for all conjugations, there's no vowel change. And the stem, as I said earlier, relies mostly on the verb. I'm only going to give you 3 example conjugations rather than giving you all of them. You are more than welcome to practice writing out more, and if you send them to me, I can check them. But all I'm requiring is these 3 that I'm going to walk through in this slides. Okay, so first is first conjugation, right? Amo, ama, amo, amare, amawi, amatus, to love, are tried and true. Because we're doing perfect and we need the perfect stem, we're going to use amawi. And as we talked about earlier, to find the perfect stem, you take the third principal part, in our case, amawi, remove the I, and that's our stem. So amawa, sounds so weird to say, but amawa would be our perfect stem. From there, we just add our endings. Conveniently enough, like amo is our first person singular and present, amawi is our first person singular perfect. So it is actually already given to us. So amawi, you could say I loved, or you could say I have loved. You could even say I did love. I just list 2 of the options because did is used much less often. Not as often. There we go. All right. So amawi, I have loved. Amawisti, you have loved. Amawit, he, she, it has loved. Amawimus, we have loved. Amawistis, y'all have loved. Amawerunt, they have loved. The reason I changed the color of erunt is because all of the other endings follow this nice, lovely pattern of eyes, right? E, isti, it, imus, istis, and then you'd be like int or eunt or something like that. But it doesn't. I cannot actually explain to you why. I've tried looking into this, and it just seems to be one of those things that evolved and nobody really had a good explanation for why. I'm sorry for that. But it's the one irregular. So sometimes it's easier to memorize just the one irregular. All right. So this would be first conjugation, but as I said earlier, our endings are the same. So even if we do even with the next conjugation, our endings are just going to be plugged into that third principal part. So we're going to actually go to sum, esse, fui, futurus, meaning to be. Because literally for each conjugation, there is no exception for sum, aside from the change from sum to fui. All right, but our endings are the same, which is convenient because we've seen some weird changes with those in our other tenses. So we give you third principal part, and that third principal part also gives you our first person singular. So fui is going to be translated as I have been. Now for fui, as well as for possum, the have is not optional. You have to say I have been, you have been, etc. So while it's an optional translation in our other conjugations, sum and possum do not have that option here. So fui would be I have been, fuisti, you have been, fuit, he, she, it has been, fuimus, we have been, fuistis, y'all have been, fuerunt, they have been. All right. Our final example conjugation is going to be possum. So we have possum, posse, potui, no fourth principal part, and then to be able. We're going to use our third principal part, as always, with the perfect system, and we add our endings to potu. So potui, I have been able. Potuisti, you have been able. Potuit, she, he, it has been able. Potuemus, we have been able. Potuistis, y'all have been able. Potuerunt, they have been able. All right. So once you've taken these down in your notes, you can pause or play the video or go back. But we're going to talk about infinitives in a moment. I have put these PowerPoints up in the slides if you hadn't noticed already, just after the videos. So if you do need to go over this some more, they will be after this in the Nearpod. Right. So last thing we're going to learn today is the perfect active infinitive. Okay. So it has the ending esse, and it's added to the third principal part. Go figure. You add it to that perfect stem. So you remove the I and then add esse. It may be translated as to have verbed. And some examples are to have walked, to have taught. Sorry, to have taught. I thought I had a third one. A third one could be to have learned, to have slept, to have eaten. I think I'm hungry. All right. Sorry. Now we're going to go over some examples of what it looks like. So amo is going to be amo wisse, to have loved. Teneo is going to be tenuisse, to have held. Peto becomes petuisse, to have sought. Capio becomes kepisse, to have taken. Audio becomes audiwisse, to have heard. That was the final new item that we were learning today. Your final two tasks for this lesson are to change the form of some infinitives to the perfect forms given and to translate, and the finis. And so these are the ones I'd like you to work through. So on a piece of paper or a document, change the infinitives into the forms indicated and translate. After that, you have your finis and the vocabulary if you have not done so already. All right. I hope you guys have a great day. I miss you all very much. And you will be hearing from me soon.